What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, August 15th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 13:11 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Alaska. So the Trump-Putin meeting is now imminent. We're hearing that they're going to be meeting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and the meeting is going to last several hours, and apparently Trump will be departing Alaska at around 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so looks like Putin will be meeting Trump within the next 2 hours or so. And what you're looking at here is a live flight tracker. And what's interesting is we have one Russian presidential doomsday plane that flew from Kamchatka to Alaska. It's about to land in Anchorage. It's a Tupolev 214PU. This is typically reserved for Putin. So this could potentially be Putin landing in Anchorage right now. And at the same time, we also have a U.S. Air Force AWACS plane monitoring the Bering Sea over here between Alaska and Russia. So here you can see Putin's plane about to land in Anchorage, RSD 539. And then here you can see Cash 50 monitoring the area here for any threats to Putin and Trump coming from who knows wherever. These AWACS planes, the E-3 Sentries, can monitor a huge area, so if there's any threat to Alaska, they would know ahead of time. But here's Putin's plane about to land in Anchorage, and we have also this U.S. Air Force VIP plane flying over the Yukon right now, and it left DC several hours ago. This could be some kind of U.S. government VIP, part of Trump's cabinet. So the meeting is imminent. This is a historic meeting, and the last time Putin was on U.S. soil is probably going back to Obama days or maybe even the Bush days. And here we have a video showing Trump boarding Air Force One this morning in D.C. And then here we have a video of Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, arriving in Alaska.
Сергей Викторович, а вы первый раз на Аляске? Для известия, скажите, пожалуйста, первый? Бывал, я тут уже. Вам нравится?
There he is right there. Okay, arriving in Alaska. Looks like just a Hampton Inn or something. That's funny. Could you imagine working at Hampton Inn and seeing Sergei Lavrov walking through the doors? That would be crazy. And then here we have a picture of the Russian press secretary, Dmitry Peskov, at an Alaskan restaurant. Looks like the Jen's restaurant. Anybody in Anchorage, please correct me if I'm wrong. But very, very interesting. And then here we have a video released by the Russian state media service TASS. You can see one of the Russian VIP planes landing at the Elmendorf Air Force Base here. Check it out. So this is pretty surreal. And a pair of B-2 stealth bombers were spotted landing earlier at Elmendorf in Anchorage. And these were the same stealth bombers that were used to strike Iran. And here's a picture of one that was seen. You can see the date, August 14th, 13:26 Alaska Daylight Time. And I don't know if this is a show of force to Putin, that, Trump is showing off his stealth bombers that he used to bomb Iran at Elmendorf so Putin can see for himself what they look like. I don't know. But this is a very interesting move by the Trump administration to fly these stealth bombers used to bomb Iran into Elmendorf the day before Putin is supposed to meet with Trump. And speaking to reporters on Air Force One, U.S. President Trump said, "I'd have to let Ukraine decide," when asked about the controversial land swaps that have been proposed by Trump in the past few weeks. He also doubled down on his stance that Ukraine should not join NATO, but said that alongside other European powers, the U.S. may be willing to provide security guarantees to Ukraine outside of that framework. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. So the White House released a roster of all the VIPs that are going to be going to Alaska with Trump. We have Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent, Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair, Deputy Chief of Staff Bo Harrison, Deputy Chief of Staff Nick Luna, Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Scavino, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung, Deputy National Security Advisor Robert Gabriel Jr., White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf, White House Director of Speechwriting Ross Worthington, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Chief of Protocol of the U.S. Monica Crowley, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Raisin Kane, Commander of U.S. European Command General Alexis Grinkevich, and also Fox News' Brett Baer is accompanying the president to do an interview with him after the summit with Putin. Now, we are hearing that Trump and Putin will be holding a joint press conference. I'll see if I can cover that live. But that is absolutely historic news. And I wanted to show you guys some flights over the last few hours and overnight. All of these Russian VIPs. Here you can see a Russian Special Flight Squadron plane landing in Alaska. Here we have a U.S. Air Force VIP plane landing in Alaska. Here we have another Russian VIP plane landing in Alaska. And here we have another Russian VIP plane landing in Alaska. All these planes going to Anchorage. And I want to just play this audio clip for you of Trump speaking on Air Force One heading to Alaska.
That Putin would face severe consequences if you get the sense from him that he's not interested? What do you mean by that?
Economically severe. Yes, it will be very severe. I'm not doing this for my health, okay? I don't need it. I'd like to focus on our country, but I'm doing this to save a lot of lives. Yeah, very severe. Thank you very much, everybody.
So they asked if he would give Russia severe consequences. He said yes, economically severe. And according to Reuters, the U.S. Department of Defense has ordered the deployment of additional air and naval forces to the southern Caribbean Sea to counter drug cartels operating in Latin America An official added that the assets committed would include several P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters, as well as at least one warship and an attack submarine, with them to be used not just to carry out intelligence and surveillance operations, but also as a launching pad for targeted strikes if a decision is made by Trump. Wow. So an attack sub, a warship, and several P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters going to the southern Caribbean Sea to potentially strike cartels. This is absolutely huge news. And earlier this week, a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol drone flew all the way down to Mexico City and was looping over an area controlled by one of the cartels in Mexico. So this is very, very concerning. And Zelensky said yesterday that Ukraine will not leave Donbass in exchange for a ceasefire. This is the final decision after today's negotiations with European leaders. As long as the constitution of the state remains unchanged, the position of the guarantor of the constitution cannot change. Okay, so Zelensky saying Ukraine will not leave eastern Ukraine and cede it to Russia. And according to Trump, there was no proposal to reduce NATO forces in Europe, including in Poland, in exchange for persuading Putin to agree to a peace deal. And Iran's foreign minister said Hezbollah is operating independently and makes its own decisions, and Iran has no intention of interfering in its affairs. He also said a new framework for cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency should be established before any inspection of our nuclear sites. So Iran basically saying, we're not affiliated with Hezbollah, but we're not going to be interfering with what they do. Obviously, BS. Iran has been funding Hezbollah for years. And then they're also saying that they're not going to allow UN nuclear inspectors into their facilities until the framework is changed. Okay, so basically what that means is Iran wants to continue building nuclear weapons and nuclear material without inspection. Okay, and they're probably doing it right now. And here's a public service announcement released by NORAD saying that there's a temporary flight restriction over Anchorage today. So if you're a pilot in Alaska, you definitely don't want to fly near Anchorage right now. And then Trump said that he had a wonderful talk with the president of Belarus. I'm going to read to you what he said. He said, I had a wonderful talk with the highly respected president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. The purpose of the call was to thank him for the release of 16 prisoners. We are also discussing the release of 1,300 additional prisoners. Our conversation was a very good one. We discussed many topics, including Putin's visit to Alaska. I look forward to meeting President Lukashenko in the future. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I wanted to just quickly update you on the situation with Putin and Trump. It looks like they will be meeting just in the next 2 to 3 hours. Putin's plane is about to land in Alaska, and they're supposed to be doing a joint press conference. I'm going to see if I can cover it live for you guys. And also, we had a lot of nuclear codes transmitted in the last couple of hours by U.S. nuclear forces, like back-to-back. And a lot of them were sent out to tactical units. So U.S. nuclear forces are on very high alert ahead of this meeting. But I will be monitoring the situation, and I may go live later on tonight. And if anything crazy happens, I will go live. And until the next time, check out my Patreon. That's patreon.com/NYPrepper, so you can get priority access to these updates. I upload these updates first on Patreon, and you can watch them without any advertisements. Okay, YouTube puts ads in the videos. If you go to Patreon and you join my Patreon, which is $5 a month, you can get access to all my videos with no advertisements. Plus, you can also direct message me if you choose. And also, I provide text updates on Patreon as well. Okay, so if you don't have time to watch the full update, you can get a quick bulleted summary of the major issues so you're not out of date with what's going on. But until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is MyPatriot Supply. Guys, MyPatriot Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. You can get 3 months of emergency food, 2,000 calories a day, for just $500. That's $200 off their normal price with free shipping included. This food has a shelf life of 25 years, and it's a variety of different types of food. So if you use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com, you can save $200 on their 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. That's preparewithNYPrepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video.